Welcome to this explainer. Right now, we're going to dive into one of the absolute most mind-bending tricks your own brain can play on you. We usually think there's this massive solid wall between being wide awake and being fast asleep. But what if that wall just crumbles? What happens when your brain goes offline but still manages to construct a flawless, high-definition simulation of your reality without you ever even opening your eyes? We're talking about the ultimate sleep illusion, and the science behind it is going to challenge literally everything you thought you knew about your own consciousness.
So, part 1. The ultimate sleep illusion. Let's get right into an experience that feels 100% real, entirely normal, but is actually a complete fabrication whipped up by your neurons.
Picture this. You open your eyes. The morning light is filtering through the window, exactly like it always does. You toss off the blankets, swing your legs out of bed, maybe walk over to the bathroom and start brushing your teeth, already stressing over the emails you need to answer today. And then you blink, and you're back in bed. That entire morning routine, it literally never happened. You were trapped in a seamless simulation of your own life. It's called a false awakening. And if you've ever experienced it, you know exactly how visceral and utterly confusing it can be.
Now, to figure out what's actually going on here, we have to look through the lens of clinical neurobiology. No metaphysics here, just pure, observable brain science. A false awakening, along with its pretty terrifying cousin, sleep paralysis, is what scientists call a hybrid state of consciousness. Basically, these are glitches. They happen right when you're transitioning in or out of REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. Instead of a clean break between dreamland and the real world, the states get all mixed up. Your brain either builds an incredibly realistic waking scenario while you're actually dead asleep, or, like in sleep paralysis, your mind wakes up but your body stays physically locked down in that natural paralysis that keeps you from acting out your dreams.
Which brings us to part 2, the scientific mystery. Because for decades, researchers only had people's subjective stories to go on. How do you objectively measure what's happening when a person looks fast asleep but internally claims to be totally awake?
Here was the massive question keeping scientists up at night. During these terrifying or confusing states, is your brain actually awake and just malfunctioning? Or is it completely asleep and just pulling off the most elaborate trick on you? Are we dealing with normal sleep stages, or is this an entirely distinct, different state of human consciousness? To answer that, scientists realized they needed a way to actually communicate with someone who is actively trapped inside the illusion.
So, part 3, inside the sleep lab. Let's step into a highly controlled scientific environment to see exactly how researchers crack this code.
Remember, during REM sleep, your muscles are paralyzed, so a person can't just wave their arm or speak up and say, "Hey, I'm having a false awakening right now." But your eyes can still move. So researchers brought in frequent lucid dreamers and hooked them up to EEG machines to track their brainwaves. They trained these folks to realize when they were dreaming, and the second they became self-aware inside the dream world, they had to send a secret Morse code back to reality, a super deliberate, extreme left-right movement of their actual physical eyes. By catching that specific visual signal, scientists could finally freeze frame the brain's exact activity during these liminal glitches.
Moving to part 4, mind-blowing discoveries. Because the data those EEG machines spit out, it totally rewrote our understanding of human consciousness.
The spectral analysis revealed something absolutely wild. During a false awakening, the machines picked up what we call predominant theta rhythms. You can think of theta waves as the classic biological signature of being in a deep dream state. Meanwhile, alpha rhythms, which are the waves that show you're relaxed and awake, were almost completely suppressed. So, the bottom line? You are not awake. Even though your conscious mind feels absolutely certain that you're out of bed and starting your day, the data proves your brain is completely enveloping you in a dream. Interestingly, sleep paralysis showed a slightly different pattern, a unique spike in beta and low gamma waves, which signals sharp cognitive clarity, a state they scientifically termed lucid paralysis. But in both cases, you're experiencing what's called local sleep, where different parts of your brain are out of sync with sleep and wakefulness happening at the exact same time.
But the thing that makes false awakenings so incredibly deceptive is how strictly they follow the boring rules of reality. According to a detailed study, a massive 67.8% of people who have a false awakening dream that they are in the exact room where they're sleeping. Your brain literally simulates your specific bedroom, the placement of the door, the texture of the sheets, the lighting. It reconstructs it all with terrifying precision. It doesn't drop you into some bizarre fantasy world. It uses your own spatial memories to trap your consciousness inside a localized, hyper-realistic replica of your immediate environment.
Part 5. The architecture of reality. Now, let's look at the existential meaning behind all this data.
Because if your brain is capable of doing this while you are dead asleep, we really have to ask what it's doing while you're awake.
This leads us to a fascinating concept from Dr. J.A. Hobson, known as the proto-consciousness theory. To put it simply, Hobson argues that the human brain basically comes pre-installed with its own advanced virtual reality simulator. Way before a baby even fully understands the outside world, REM sleep acts like a practice stage. The brain runs this innate, internal model of space and time to gear up for waking life. So dreams aren't just random neurological static, they are actually feeding off this deeply ingrained evolutionary VR template.
So here is the ultimate mind-bending takeaway from all this research. The waking world you experience every single day, the colors you see, the textures you feel, the physical space around you, is ultimately just a highly accurate model built inside the dark, completely silent vault of your skull. Your brain is constantly generating a simulation of reality based on the sensory data pouring in from your eyes and ears. But during a false awakening, your brain just decides to run that exact same simulation offline. It predicts what your bedroom should look and feel like, and it trusts those internal predictions so heavily that it builds a perfectly believable world entirely from memory without a single drop of real outside sensory input. Which brings us to part 6, a final question. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really reflect on the next time you open your eyes in the morning.
Science is showing us that consciousness isn't just a simple on or off switch. It's a dynamic continuum. It's a constant balancing act between the physical world out there and the powerful generative models inside your head. So if your internal hardware is fully capable of forging your reality, flawlessly rendering your bedroom, your body, and your conscious thoughts with such high fidelity that you literally cannot tell the difference while you're unconscious, then how porous is that barrier between waking life and the dream world really? Are we ever truly experiencing reality directly? Or are we always, in some capacity, just waking up into a world of our own making? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Until next time, stay curious and sleep well.